Hello, everybody. A little late start today. Glad you're along. It's time to open up those doors, turn on that open sign in time with the Kansas City T-Bone Steakhouse right here on Facebook Live. Glad you're here. Let's cue the open. Here we go. Wow, happy Wednesday to everybody. Glad you're along. Welcome here to the T-Bone Steakhouse. Dan Vaughn with you here on a Wednesday. A little late today. Couple of things. First off, you know the drill. If you're hearing me, give me a thumbs up, and I'll actually pull you guys up here on the phone, and also we'll get those comments as well. Sorry about the opener. I swear I'm going to get it right one day. One of these days, I don't know when, we're going to open this thing like you're supposed to, but I've emailed the software folks, and I don't know. I guess this is not really the software folks this time. It's mostly me. Hey, good to see you there, Gary, David as well. Today's show, a little, well, I don't want to say it's a little light, okay? There's not a lot going on. It's obviously for the sports world, there ain't much going on, except for perhaps if you're following Sports Center, it's the great debates. We're now in that whole stretch now of, you know, the greatest of all time. We've all gone through the whole MJ stories. We know the NBA and the NHL are coming back. We know that you know, baseball, at least the minor leagues, kind of hangs the balance here, kind of waiting around. In the Major League Baseball is doing what they're doing, which is taking 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's definitely a baseball tango, but that's what's going on. So also, we did a little road trip this weekend, left on Friday. For you folks that follow my happy hour know that we were gone. We were gone the stretch Friday through, actually got back late last night. We weren't even sure because we're kind of doing a play it by ear. We didn't even come back last night. We almost stayed out west just to kind of kick it, but we got back. And so really originally kind of planned on having no show today, but the fact that I'm back, you do something. So we, you know, it's, again, I'm going to sit there and say we're running out of content because you can always create content. But as we wait around, we're just waiting. Because I believe when we do get the final word that we play ball or not play ball in the big leagues, the American Association or the minors, we'll have plenty to talk about them, right? We'll have plenty of things to talk about either way. Because if we throw a first pitch in a couple of weeks, plenty of questions about that. If we don't throw any first pitches, plenty of questions about that. So a lot of things still coming up. So while we're kind of light content-wise, we do have a few things to talk about today. I unearthed something I thought was interesting. I'm going to pull the mic down just a bit. I think you guys are hearing me, but I'm watching one good thing about this, we're able to use some new gear, and we're able to use a little better sound. We may have some quality problems with me producing, but we're always going to sound good, and the lighting's going to be good and things of that nature. So that's a plus. So anyway, glad you're along. Hot stove has been pretty cool since April 1, April 15th, about tax time, right? By the time we got locked in, that's kind of when the hot stove dried up a bit. There's been a few signings here and there, but everybody's in the same wait and see mode because so many little things, these connect the dots. You know, the big league camps going on hold was one domino. The next domino was the minor league camps not ever reporting, and then players not getting released when they normally would. Players are getting released in a big bunch at one time, but suddenly they're all released, but they all got released the last couple of weeks. You may have seen a lot of players get released, but suddenly not a lot of roster spots. And the question mark is who's playing where. So a lot of dominoes falling, and then some of them kind of suspended in midair right now, kind of holding their spot. So I dug up something today from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch from the October from a 1918 edition. And that's today's Wednesday's Wisdom. And, of course, Wednesday's Wisdom has been kind of floating around in 1918. We've kind of been around that area because a lot of interesting storylines in that season that also parallel a little bit to our COVID situation today. And then also there were some players in the game. We've talked a few of them already, but one in particular, Babe Ruth, who really sort of through the couple times he caught the Spanish flu, sort of migrated from being a pitcher to becoming the world's premier home run hitter at one time. I mean, in kind of the first real well-known baseball player, kind of the most first marketable ball player almost globally back in the day, a big brand he was. And so that all kind of started in 1918. We've gone through all that, and we've talked a lot about the history of the season. It's really good stuff, and I actually may go down the road during the season and revisit that more in the broadcast or via podcast as well, because there's a lot of really good stuff there, a lot of really interesting items that happened during 18, but really the Spanish flu and what we're going through today, very myriad situation. And we're all very much in the same boat here. And I'm going to put this picture up as I had this on the other day. I've already shown you this picture, though, the masked, one of the only few players we have of the masked players there, but Wednesday's Wisdom going to bring you a little bit of I guess it's Wednesday's Wisdom from a newspaper article from 1918. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to bring this up for you guys as well. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it up for you so you guys can read this. Bring the graphic need to come down. Producing on the fly here. Let's pull the graphic down so you guys can see. This came from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch in October 31st of 1918. Now, mind you, the baseball world had already gone through a shortened season. Remember, they've already shortened the year. They had a shortened season, and they'd already gone through that. And they'd also shortened the regular season. They'd gone to the World Series, and suddenly, boom, they had a college football season that was shortened as well. Of course, NFL in its infancy then. So this was kind of the feeling. The tennis would have been canceled, as you're going to see that here. But here is this poem from L.C. Davis, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, October 31st, 1918. And this sort of, although some things are back, golf is coming back this weekend in Fort Worth, Texas, and you've got the NASCAR in week number 2 or 3 now. But I think we're all feeling this way about sport in general, and maybe about life in general, because things are really weird. But here he goes. And it's in a sportless town, the Spanish flu has put a crimp in outdoor sports. There isn't anything to do on football fields or tennis courts. They've closed our favorite resorts. Away from crowds we have to stay. The world is sadly out of sorts. Oh, where are the sports of yesterday? And that is today's Wednesday's Wisdom right there. That is from 1918, again, from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, L.C. Davis. And I'll put this up for you guys again because I think it's really cool to see. Again, where are the sports of yesterday? I mean, where have they all gone? Now, granted, the NBA may have finals in October. Heck, the Major League Baseball may play when Santa's coming down the chimney. They may play straight through and start spring training. There's some talk the NBA may slow down for a break and just take a breath and go at it again. And of course, the hockey, who knows? I mean, it's a different world. And just coming back from West Texas, where we were this weekend, and things are a little different out there, but every place is a little different. But it's a sportless town for that Spanish flu, and that's today's Wednesday's Wisdom as we wonder where our sports are here as we're on June 10th, 2020, and really felt pretty similar back in October of 1918. Not much differences in where are our sports gone. That is definitely the question we've all been asking as T-Bones fans, as baseball fans. We're all asking the very same thing. It's where is baseball now? Not the big league level, but the minor league level. Where is it? And we're all wondering where it might be. Good to see you guys out there. Bobby, Lars, Tricia, GM, Ellen, others out there mentioned for you guys earlier. Here's the deal. I'm going to open this up a little bit, too. I'm going to do something a little different. Why? Again, the show's abbreviated, but I'm going to go do this. Something I don't usually do. We don't usually do this, but I'm experimenting with this, and if it doesn't have to work, okay? But if any of you fans out there decide, you know what, I want to jump on. I got something to say. I got a question to ask. It's kind of like a live question and answer, because I kind of feel like down the road, going into next off season, even during this season, I'd love to be able to do some things even during the season where we have some interactive back and forth on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm kind of one of the good things here is I'm experimenting a little bit. So if you do want to join me, I'll give a couple of you guys a chance, a couple of open liners, if you will, and I'll just call it it's your show. So it's your show, and to get to your show, you have to go to this link. So what you can do if you're on Facebook or your mobile device, there's your link right there. You go to the virtual green room. I'll know you're there. I'll bring you on. You can ask your question. If not, fire those questions away, as we would love to hear you and everything else. Again, not required, because I didn't advertise this. It's not something this is something I came up with about an hour ago. I'm like, you know what? Because you guys have all listened to sports radio, right? Or news radio. Open line time, right? Open line. Let's all open. It's kind of like that. It's your chance to kind of chime in about baseball, sport, T-bones, what you're doing. I don't care. Questions you want to ask, I'll try to answer them the best I can. The calendar says June 10th. If you read the association date line, again, you're going to do your own CSI thing here, okay? But you read the association timeline. You look at kind of how things are going. You can kind of start adding and doing the math that we're probably getting pretty close now. I would think to some kind of word. If we're getting close to a major league word, you figure in the minor leagues, in the American Association, we're getting closer to a word of how things are going to look for the American Association this year. Speaking of association, my boy Lars out in Arizona. All the Arizona guys are joining me. Men's team right now to stay ready. I think I saw that. Lars, did you post that online? Or did I see that online? I think I saw you. Maybe you, but I read that somewhere that a lot of kind of local ball clubs, and I know a couple are doing it in Australia too, just kind of having, hey guys, let's get and play some ball and stay loose. And I think that's probably something you're going to see a lot more of. I think you're going to see a lot of that. I mean, look at it this way. I mean, last time Lars pitched in February. Last time he pitched in a ball game. I know he was as hard as a working guy as I know. He's working out, throwing, but live BP, live action, live spring training. If you did go to spring training with a big league club, you have not been there in broke out, was it March 12th, 11th? March 11th, wasn't it? They broke camp. So March, April, May. So we're looking at 2.5 months, basically 3 months, basically, since they've done any baseball. So yeah, it's going to require some guys doing their own little thing there. Let's see here. This comment here from the greatest. Can imagine playing neighborhood pro ball, neighborhood ball with them. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be really cool. I mean, I think what's kind of cool, it's one of those deals. Did you guys in college ever play intramural sports? If you went to school, intramural program, it was always kind of cool. And our fraternity was like this. We had a couple of guys that were ringers who maybe played football at Tech, but maybe in high school were really also good ball players at basketball, or maybe they were from a town where they played all the sports, but they were playing football collegiately. So they didn't play obviously flag football for us, but they would play basketball for us. So they'd play. We had track and field intramurals as well. I mean, we'd have some ringers, and we oftentimes during fraternity rush we would grab a guy that was a ringer because we knew this guy was going to be great to help us out, get those intramural points for all you. I mean, so yeah, you're playing local baseball, pickup ball, whatever you want to call it, men's league, which a lot of cities have that. You get a hey, you get a Lars. I get Lars with me. No, all good. I mean, you're my first draft pick, buddy. All right, you're my first draft pick, Lars. I'm going to grab you, and I'm going to see Blake out there as well today talking T-Bones baseball and the American Association here on a Wednesday. Kind of a Steakhouse, the appetizer edition, because again, not a lot going on. But we are going to get to the KBO in a few minutes. So I'll give you a few things like that and some other things that I'm working on down the road. But again, a chance for you guys to chime in. And if you want to, I'll let you put that up there. We go over my face move up there. You can, there we go. You want to chime in? Yeah, I bet. I bet Brett Brown would love that. That he would love that. He would definitely love that. I really love that. I mean, it would be cool to play ball with your favorite pro player, or just a pro player in general. I mean, again, you got your ringers, and Lars, you be my ringer. It's of course, this reminds me of a story. Always reminds me of a story. Good to see brother Dean Butler out there. Australian baseball story, and my goal is to play once again competitive baseball down the road. Now, granted, you're thinking, well, Vaughn, how is that possible? How in the world can you, as an old guy, play baseball? Well, they have senior leagues, and there is one in Australia called the Masters League, and the Masters are old dudes like me that play sports, right? And it's in Perth. They play on Tuesday nights at the ballpark. And the best thing about the Masters League is that the hot dogs are like $2 and the beers are $2. So a few folks will show up to the Masters League, not really to watch the game, but to kind of grab the cheap suds, because beer in Australia is about $8 a pint. So a $2 beer is a pretty good deal over there. So I was recruited as the ringer for the Masters League for the teams over there, and I've kind of got the point now where I can sort of barter out my services by they figure, well, here's a guy in his quote unquote mid to upper age, 40s to 60 range, that wide range is, and I'd be like one of the younger guys of the team, and I'd be a ringer, and they wanted me to say, bidding on me 2 years ago, bidding on me, we want you to play for us. And I finally got the point, well, I can start negotiating how I want to do this thing. Do I want $1 beers? Do I want $1 hot dogs? I mean, what was my contract going to look like? And I keep telling William Sinclair, Spider, a good mate of mine who runs the Masters there in Perth, and hey, my services bidding is continuing, and I'm continuing to bid. Let you guys bid, bring it on, because I want to play. But of course, in the Masters League, though, it's very bad news bears oriented, because a pop fly to shallow right could wind up being a triple, or it could be a single, because if the right guy's running, you might get to third. Because the right guy's playing right field, he might catch it or he might never get there. And if the slow guy's running, a ball in the gap might just be a double. A guy like me running, it might be a single. But it's good baseball. It's fun. They're playing hardball, and it's good stuff. So all good. Good to see Dean. Good to see Dean chiming in out there. Shout outs all around to my buddy Lars. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Lars out there in Phoenix, of course, former. Lars is a story I've actually told before, but I've told you guys on the broadcast, the T-Bones, that how difficult it is to get from, and Lars remembers this, how difficult it was, and kind of how we got to know each other, because I planned the travel for Gary, and he was joining us from another league, and we had to get him to Lincoln. But to get him to Lincoln was not easy, and we had to get him to Omaha and the shuttle over and all that. And that's how a lot of conversations, we got to know each other pretty well that summer. I tried to get you from point A to point B. But I've told that story a few times too, but good to see him out there. Brian asking, what position would you play the Masters game, Brian? Probably first. I would say catcher, but the knees won't hold up. And probably first. Or maybe right field, although I'd be the right fielder who can't get to the ball. Maybe the guy. What's fun about it, and this is true, and if you've ever seen an older, 40-year-old plus, so there are some guys in their 40s and go get it, but most of the guys 50 plus, a pop fly that's misplayed in the outfield could easily be a triple or a home run, or it could very easily be a single. That's what makes it so fun, because there's two adventures in the Masters League. Every ball hits an adventure. I mean, it's almost like when you're a little kid, your son is playing a little league, or maybe not father pitch, but playing live pitch for the first time. And you got to tell little Johnny, okay, round first and go to second. You're like, go to second. You all seen that, right? Or he gets to third, he stops, he looks around, and where's the ball? And the coach is like, go, 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 as I drop the ball. It's sort of like that, the adult version, because you never know when the ball's hit the ground, if it's going to be fielded cleanly, kicked, olayed. The balls in the outfield can be an adventure. And again, first to third, home to first, that's an adventure. But it's good stuff. And the best part about it, at least in Perth anyway, and I don't know how it is in Victoria, Lars, but at least in Perth, it's always a cheaper beer night on Tuesday night. So all good. Batting order position. Let's see here. I would say I'd have to be down near the bottom because, I mean, like I'm saying probably a 7th, 8th-ish. I'm kind of the lumbering catcher, but playing first. How about that? Is that a good spot for me? Umpire, you could umpire. Yeah, actually, the cool thing about the umpire in the Masters League is that my buddy Spider wears this cool old school umpire outfit. He's got these white gloves, and he's got a really cool old school tie and the old school hat. He looks, have you seen should have pulled a picture up of Spider, but he does the old school vintage umpiring look, which there's a vintage league, recreation league somewhere in Indiana. I'm not sure where. There's a couple of them around, but those were in Indiana where they do the whole old school, the one that those caps the Pirates wore in the 70s. They wore the same kind of old school turn of before the last century hats, the old handlebar mustache and all that. Well, these guys recreate the old game, and they have the same. And Spider wears that same kind of umpire outfit. It's pretty cool stuff. Can I be Morgan? Mom says. I'm sure, Mom. Sure. Brian says, after hearing this, I recommend the manager. Yes, you're probably right. Actually, the best thing for me is actually on those Tuesday nights, we usually tape segments for our broadcast for the weekend because the weekend broadcasts are Thursday nights. So we'll tape usually some Thursday night interviews, some content for the broadcast. We actually tape it because the team works out, the Perth team, the big club works out 3 to 6-ish, somewhere in there. And usually we tape those interviews and after their workout and do some work for social media for the broadcast. So actually, I wound up doing that and then just sitting there watching the game, and managing might be the best spot for me. There you go. Lineup card. There you go. I like it. Same way in Victoria, Lars says. So we know that because he was in with the Melbourne Aces. Brian says, hey, Brian, good to see you. But Brian, by the way, this weekend I was out in Lubbock, and I got to catch up with Ryan Hyatt. And Ryan Hyatt, 2 old KTX tiers. We were discussing you, as a matter of fact. And we all we're missing was you for the original KTX, well, not the original, but those 80s KTXT sports guys, talking about those great volleyball remotes we had back in the day. But Brian, thanks for joining me, Brian, and hope you're doing well up there in the East, and take care of yourself, my friend. But yes, questions, comments, we're here for you. Again, if you want to pop on and maybe you're a T-Bone fan or just a baseball fan, you got a question about T-Bones, the American Association. I don't have a lot I can tell you, but there's maybe a little bit I can tell you. And you want to jump on in the green room, you can jump on right now. I'll get you on. This is kind of what we do in the happy hour at 5 o'clock, but I thought, why not open it up for you guys today? Again, connecting the dots. It would make sense that we're looking in that last window of we're going to hear something. Whatever that is, we're going to hear. And I would say we're probably on the clock, if you want to say it. When the draft is today, I would think that the major league clock has been ticking pretty fast, and it's been flying. And I don't know what they're going to do. They can't get out of their own way. I hope they do, but they can't. But here's hoping they do, because I know there's some a lot of folks that want to see it. I mean, I know here in Texas and I know in Kansas City both, there are a lot of folks that need it. Where the minor leagues and the affiliated ball stands, I don't know how many of those clubs or how many of those leagues have contingency plans. What really hurts them already is the fact that they've already got issues with the player development contracts already, and as far as the contraction rumors were going on. I don't know how many of those leagues had plans. I do know this: the American Association, with Josh Vishab and Josh Buchholz and the league owners, they've got a plan. Now, what those plans are, and I would imagine, just a guess, but just knowing how things would go, and I know how this is in Australia right now, they've got several for winter ball already plans in place, several different scenarios. And as we talked about a month ago, there's several different scenarios out there. And as we get closer, you start taking one off the table. I mean, they may be down to that situation where they've got their scenarios decided. I would imagine, just again, tea leaf time, we're approaching the 15th, and we're 5 days away. So we're in that window. And I think, that was kind of the window we thought we'd see something going on at T-Bone Stadium. So let's see here. All righty, off to go to webinar fundraiser. Maybe I can be on your, yes, you be the team fundraiser. Mom, you can bring it on. Bring it on, Mom. Bring it on. There you go. Bring it on. Good to see Jody out there as well. Jim, good to see you too, brother. And okay, while we're kind of just treading water here on the show and really just trying to kind of stay on this thing regular, couple of things that we've talked about is, we're idling. We have some ideas, but we're kind of idling. And once those we've kind of kicked into gear, whether we know we're going to do it, whether it be all full speed ahead broadcast, I've given you some fun things we're going to do on our broadcast. If we're going to be in dry dock, the extended stay dry dock, we have some fun things planned there. For me, where I'm sitting at, it's frustrating because I want to be able to push plan A or plan B forward, and they're both different plans, totally different. Good to see Mike out there as well. But again, that's it. That's what we're going to be. We're going to continue to forge forward because right now we're in the off-season mode, but we're going to either stay in off-season mode or we're going to go to season mode. And you guys that have been around know the difference. But either way, we have some fun stuff planned, but I really can't pull the trigger until I know exactly what's going to go on. So, and again, this is kind of the abbreviated show today. Let's see here. Also, I mentioned Wednesday's Wisdom, talking about, I'll read the poem again toward the end. I'll give you one more shot if you missed it earlier. We are going to do a full, and I'm kind of waiting because I get a little closer. I'm going to do a full Japanese League preview at some point. I would imagine that'll happen as soon as we know the direction we're going. We'll do that. I'm kind of holding that. I've got a little time. I got about a 3-week window. Although I did notice today they did have a player test positive over there. I did see that, but I don't know how big of a deal that is. We'll dive into that. The KBO keeps running along. They've added a few fans last week, not a lot. You may have seen the videos of the stuffed animal fans. They've got do the graphics laid over, or they got some stuffed animals in the stands. They're having fun, at least. The Korean Baseball League, and that's that time for the Korean Baseball Report. First off, quick question from Bobby. Yes, I think that's part of the thing, Bobby, honestly, because now most of the rosters, I would say 85, 90% of your roster was already pretty much decided. Every team had it kind of sorted mid-April, because I think a lot of folks, we didn't lock down. I think a lot of us thought 30 days initially. We weren't really sure, but when we first locked down, I think we were all kind of like, well, this will be over by May, whatever. And I remember being on a conference call with some other broadcasters, and we were all kind of, there was a lot of unknown. I think the conventional wisdom was positive thinking that it was going to be over sooner than later. I don't think anybody had any idea. And there was some rumors out there. I don't think anybody thought we'd go this long. So a lot of the rosters were already in spring training mode, because a lot of those guys, they were saving a few spots for guys that would be released, because we were at the tail end of spring training. We were 2 weeks away from spring training ending in the big leagues, and the minor leagues were kicking off, and there was a few spots left here and there for some of those guys being released. But by and large, at least the T-Bones roster was pretty close to 24. And there was a few spots there left for players that would be released as well. But by and large, I don't know how that's going to work. I figure, and again, this is just me speaking off the top of my head, they've got to be working on that, because let's just say, for example, and I'll throw this out there, let's say Team A, whatever it is not going to play this summer. We've seen rumors that may happen regardless. We've seen that maybe Winnipeg doesn't play. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's just pure speculation with the government of Manitoba. Let's just say they don't play. What happens to those 28 players? Are they allowed to they become free agents? What protection does Winnipeg get back on that? Does Winnipeg get something to replace those players down the road? They should be rewarded for having good. If a player ends up going from Winnipeg, let's say, to Team B, and has a great year, shouldn't Winnipeg be compensated for finding player A to go to Team B? I mean, you'd think so. So I think a little bit of it, probably some of the delay, is I have a feeling that for the most part, the league has a pretty good idea what they're going to do. But what do you do with players, and how do you expand the rosters? I mean, you got a lot of extra players out there. Suddenly you've got a lot of really good players who aren't going to get a chance to play AAA, AA. What do you do there? How do you help? And that improves your league. So I think a lot of that behind the scenes stuff is being worked out, and that's one of the things they're working on. And I think it'd be probably one of the headline deals, because that's one of the first questions I ask. What happens if we don't play ball? What's the if? And what happens to what happens to your veterans? And if you're not playing and all your players go away, well, how are you protected next year? How's the option process going to work? What if a guy wants to play for your ball club? In Kansas City's case, I'm going to use Kansas City as an example. Guys, and I'm sure Rick Forney's the same way. Every team's the same way. The guys come to these places for a reason. They go play for Steve Montgomery in Sioux City for a reason, because they want to play for the Sioux City Explorers. They want to play for the Kansas City T-Bones. They believe their best chance to get back to affiliated ball is to be in those clubs. And how is that going to affect down the off season and the hot stove of next year? So I go, that's a really good question. I think a lot of good players are out there, and a great comment. A lot of good players are out there. Let's see here. Proof that I have an effect on your reading. Yes, that actually was an accident. But yes, it actually, when I saw the poems, I thought, boy, that'd be good for the literary poem night we did it every year. We actually didn't do it this year. My wife does a deal every year with her teachers at St. Mark's here in Dallas, where they would do all the English faculty get together, have a dinner, and have a big fajita dinner, and we all read poems and that we discover. Mine was Casey at the Bat or something one year, wasn't it? Something like that. I don't know. Something was it? I did something like that, babe. I can't remember, but all good. Good stuff. Questions, comments again. If you do want to, any T-Bones faithful feel like jumping on, I'll take you. I'll take you live. Go live to the call-in line, and we'll get you on in the virtual green room. Again, the show is the Steakhouse. My name's Dan Vaughn, voice of the Kansas City T-Bones, the American Association. You're on my channel, but that's just a technical roundabout way to keep this show going while we're all kind of in limbo a bit, because this thing's affected everybody in some form or fashion, whether it be health-wise, in your pocketbook, or job-wise. We're all in this thing together in some form or fashion. So piece that together as you will, okay, how that's going. But let's see here. Don't have anything to catch up on. But yeah, we're in that port to the show, which we're time to talk about the KBO. Now, I dug a couple things up. First off, I'll give you the KBO report. I was going to pull up the league numbers this week and pull that up for you here. Here's the league standings. I'm going to pull join me live off there for a moment. I'll know if you do join me. The Dinos still on the top spot. This last week, 7-3, still holding on the top spot. Remember last week, the Doosan Bears are closed in 3.5, dropped a half game at 7-3, 4 games back firmly, along with LG. Both the Twins and the Bears are both right there on that 2 and 3 spot right there. And then the Heroes dropping in that 4 spot. They've been 3 of the top 4. The Dinos, Bears, and Heroes all had great weeks. And the Twins, not so much, 4 and 6. But your top 4 really has stayed in that top 4. Twins and Heroes could, flip-flop soon. It looks like, at least the way the Heroes are playing, that they can catch the Twins. Twins have scuffled a bit, one time in second position, but now find themselves 18-12 in C 24-7. They did have a rain out though 2 nights ago, and then the Tigers at 7. The Giants again. It's a real top-heavy top 5, 6, and then the bottom stretch. Samsung 14-18, 5-5 week. SK 7-3. Had a pretty good week for them. They actually have had a couple good weeks. They had a 6-4 week prior, the stretch of the 10 weeks before, or 10 days prior over the fortnight, and having a 7-3 fortnight now, and doing still 2 games out of that 7 spot. And really, you want to get that. What you really want to do is get that 6 spot. And you want the top 5 teams the better advantage, but you want to get that, at least the 6 spot gets you a puncher's chance for postseason. Get that 5th spot, 4th spot. At least you got something going on right there. Going to see my good mate Alex Crosby out there. And congratulations to the saw great pictures, Alex, online of your dad, and it looks like the grand kiddo out there in Vegas. Good on you guys. Congratulations to the family. Hope you're doing well, Alex. One of my favorites as well. KT 20 and 11 and 20, 6 back. And how about the poor Hanwha Eagles? They've dropped 16 straight ball games, right? 16 straight they've dropped. And they actually went to their minor leagues. They actually sent a lot of veterans, not a lot, but for their veteran players, this is what they did. Let's just picture the Royals doing this. Kansas City decides, all right, you 4 veterans, you're all out. You're all out. And we're going to bring in 4 guys from AAA and a couple of guys from AA. We'll send a couple of young guys down. They've shuffled the deck chairs and still dropped 16 straight, which I do believe the 13 straight was a KBO record. 16 now for the Hanwha Eagles, and that's even with my mate Warwick Suppold pitching every 5th day for them. They're not having any luck. They're just dreadful, which we talked about that in the preview show, that everybody picked them in the cellar, and everybody was picking right for the KBO. So there's your KBO standings for the going into Thursday over there. Wednesday, after Wednesday's play, that would have been after today, Wednesday. You finished playing about 12 hours ago over there in Korea. But there is your KBO standings for this week on June 10th. One more little topic I want to bring up too. It was uniform-wise. And I'm first off also going to say, CJ, I was just talking about you. I saw a picture of CJ and his granddaughter, I believe, and boy, what a cutie she was out there. And good to see that. And then Alex and his father out there out west. Good to see Louis Travis from there in the South Shore. He's a Railcat fan, but glad he's along here. Glad all you guys are along, wherever you're watching here, talking T-Bones and the American Association on a Steakhouse Light show. It's kind of it's the appetizer platter. We went to the Steakhouse this weekend on a daytime in Abilene. The wife and I did. They have the full menu. They also have the light menu, the daytime menu. This is the light menu today. We're going with the steak sandwich as opposed to the full-blown ribeye, and we're going with the salad instead of all the spread. So that's what we're doing today. Let's see here. Some of my father is dressed a bunt. Yes, that's what it was. Can I find? You know what, GM? I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that next week. Remind me to use that next week on the show, because I don't know if I can pull it up in time. But yes, Sign of My Father. I'm going to pull it up against you guys. You guys want a baseball poem? It's really good. And it's what my wife and I read last year. Sign from My Father Who Stressed the Bunt. And it was by David Bottoms. And it's really, if you're a father who's ever played catch with your kiddo, or a kiddo has played catch with your father, or anybody that's been in the early days of learning the sport of baseball, it's a great poem about stressing the bunt. And it's because the bunt, bunts aren't cool, right? I mean, no one wants to bunt, right? And good stuff. It is an awesome poem. I wish I'd have grabbed it, and I'll read the one again here in a minute from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch from 1918. But yes, it is awesome. Definitely awesome there. We'll definitely, I'll get on the show next week. Remind me, GM, since you're the in-house producer of that. I want to mention a couple of things. I love uniforms, right? And what I was so excited about, and I'm still excited about this, is that if you guys have seen, now let's pull the logo up for you. There's probably a little more better reference for you if I do this. If you notice the T-Bones logo, and if you see the blue there, do I have a bigger logo than that? I think I do. Let me pull a bigger logo up than that. It's in the corner there, but you see the blue? That blue that's scrolling around the bottom of the screen there, that's actually the new T-Bones blue. And it's actually the new blue. Let me pull the actual large logo up for you guys and show you what I'm talking about, why I'm excited. And we're going to segue into some uniform talk quickly. But here we go. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to pull it up for you and load it in the system, and hope you can. Let's see here. Hold on. Here we go. This is the logo for the T-Bones, and I hope you can see this. I'm going to pull up the screen for you. You can see it. Do you see the blue there? You guys see that blue? That's a blue. That's not a black. It's a blue. And then, of course, that tan, kind of the balancing color, the white and the red. That's a new red, and it's a new blue. Now, you see the blue on the screen scrolling across the screen. That's the T-Bones new blue, and the T-Bones new red. Now, you're asking, why? What's it had to do with uniforms? Well, one of the things you got to think about, well, if our old colors were kind of a maroonish red and the black, and we're not going with black now, we're going with blue, that leads me to believe that somewhere, someplace, perhaps Chris Brown, maybe Joe Capietra, maybe John West have all had a powwow at some point and had a little conversation. And I'm sure new ownership, Mark Brandmeier, has probably sat down as well. They thought, well, we got a new logo. How's that cap going to look? How those jerseys going to look? How those pants going to look? So I'm excited going forward, as I know, obviously, put two and two together, right? We've got a new logo, new colors. That tells me probably some new uniforms and caps. I'm not going to debut those here, so don't jump out of your seats yet. But that's where I'm going. So I started thinking, what might the T-Bones uniforms look like? So I started thinking. I stumbled across an article about we're talking about the KBO about baseball uniforms, about the cool ones, the ones that weren't so good, and that's where I'm going with this. So I'm going to pull this down, and I picked out the three that I like the most. Now, you guys are you're uniform people, uniform talk. There's a couple of guys on Twitter. Stirrups Up is one of them, a guy to follow on Twitter that talks baseball uniforms. But I'm going to give you my three that I really like a lot in the KBO. The first one I'm going to show you here is not really necessarily a favorite, but it's my third place, I guess, my club. And I'm going to show you why. Okay, the traditional right there. This is going to be the Kia Tigers. Okay, there's their home, their away, and their alternate. And the home generic, and it's hard to tell on the screen there, but you can kind of see it. Generic Tigers across the front in script, kind of not really a script, more of a. I like the script. Not really. It's a angled. Not sure what the font is, but and then you got the white and the red. But I'm not usually a fan of the strange colored pants. Milwaukee in our league wears those the gray, dark gray, and they wear a black pant. Not a huge fan of those. But I saw this with the red. I kind of like it. It's not terrible. I'm not a big fan of that look, but I'm not a fan of that look. And I kind of think that may have grown on me a little bit. So I like that alternate jersey. That's kind of my third look. I usually am more traditionalist. I like pinstripes. I like, that kind of deal. I like those throwback looks. I'm not so much in the beer softball league, but that being said, I can see me perhaps, those aren't terrible. They're not terrible. Okay. My second choice in the KBO, and this one is the Samsung Lions. Now, this one very much fits the traditional mode, and I'll pull those up for the bigger on the screen there. Very much a Dodgers look, which I love. Little copy there. Very much a Dodgers look. They've got the Lions across the front in script. Samsung, of course, is the sponsor. Instead of going with the gray on the road, they go with the blue, which I kind of very much a Royals look, very Kansas City Royal look. If you like that, I do like it. I think it'll be my second favorite look in the KBO. I'm going to bring you guys my favorite uniform in the Korean Baseball League, and it's this one right here. And it's actually four, but it's a combination of all four. All four here. And there you go. It's the Latte Giants. And this is they've got the pinstripe look. It looks very San Francisco, right? Very much like the Giants in San Francisco. The black top with the piping, I think that's really cool. It's actually it can even be a sleeveless look if you wanted it to be, but I like the black piping in that away jersey with the pinstripes. That's a cool look. They've got an alternate, which I'm not so a big fan of. It looks very softballish. But what I love is the alternate too. I love the light blue. What I would do, this is just me, I would switch the alternate to away. Alternate two to away. I love those old blues. Those look a lot like if you're a 70s baseball, 80s baseball guy, Kansas City's road blues, the Expos road blues. Texas had road blues. Those road light blues. It kind of went from a gray to a blue. Who else? Expos. Oh gosh, Phillies had them. Cardinals had them. I think the Braves had them. Didn't the Cubs have them as well? Brewers, I think, had them. They were very big players. Twins had them back in the day. They were all very big 70s and 80s. I know the Rangers are bringing them back for this year. They've got them, and I don't think I have that graphic. Do I have a graphic for that? I don't think I do. Let me see if I can find that for you. The Rangers have a blue jersey as well. Yeah, I do have it. I do have it right here. Let me pull it up for you guys. Give me just a second here, and let me download it. I'll show what I'm talking about. You guys remember this this look, because it is the look for the Rangers back. They brought it back. This would have been the one I saw growing up as a kid, but it's definitely one to show you here. If I pull it up here for you. There we go. I love when I produce the fly like this. Don't you guys love it too? Come on, Vaughn. What are you doing? Here we go. Here we go. Texas Rangers new look. But yeah, I love that blue. I think that'd be the way to go with the Lotte look. I would flip-flop the looks, and this is the Ranger look here. And it's right here we go. Here's the Rangers look. And that's their home and away, which I love. And maybe it's one of those deals where you do home and away, white and gray, and that light blue could be an alternate jersey for home or away. But that's what I would do. I'd probably make alternate one for that Lotte club. But again, that's the old Rangers look, that blue one, the light blue there on the right, the alternate one. That's what I'm talking about. So kind of what I'd like to see the Lottes do. And I'll show it to you guys. There we go. Right there. Again, I would probably say scrap the away with the black and do either a traveling gray and then do this blue. But that's kind of, again, they're not asking me, and I don't think they're going to. So I don't think they're going to ask Dan what he thinks about their uniforms. But I just want to play. I saw that today. Thought, you know what? I want to look at their uniforms. So I went through all the uniforms this morning of the Korean Baseball League and thought, hey, you know what? What are the team? So it started thinking, what were the T-bones going to look like? And that's exciting, right? You should be excited about that, because at some point we're going to know. Baseball or no baseball, we're going to know what those are going to look like, because, I mean, obviously we got a new logo, a new mat, and all that, and new colors. So it got me thinking, what do we want? A traveling gray? How's that going to look? Do we want a light blue? Can we get a light blue, Brownie? How is that going to look? Are we going to have a KC logo? How's that going to look? KCK logo? How's it all going to look? All right, last call for questions here, guys. Again, what I want to remind you, we're going to be doing this, though, during the season. So when the season rolls along, we're going to have you guys join me during the week. I'm going to have one show a week during this won't be the Steakhouse. We shifted our season show, which is the Cup of Sizzle. And on Cup of Sizzle, which is lunchtime every Monday through Friday, I'm going to open up a couple of times a week for you guys to chime in. So once you guys get the habit, you T-Bones fans, get the habit. Don't be scared. Jump on, get that, hit that link, jump on the show, and ask your questions. Have you guys a chance to do that during the regular season? And also next year in the Hot Stove League, we'll do it on the Steakhouse as well. But no one did it. But once you guys have got to get in the habit of, hey, you know what? I do have a question. You can ask me on Twitter, right, or on Facebook right now. But I'd love to have you guys join me live. Why not? Okay. All right. Last call. Questions, comments. We will join you guys again next Wednesday. Of course, any breaking news, we do have that as well, but it's been so quiet on player moves and all that. There's been nothing really to break news about. So again, thanks for joining me. Some reminders too on other content. If you are so inclined, I'd love to have you guys do that. You can check out my other channels right here. Here they are for you. There's my Twitter handle. Let me pull the logo down so you get on. The logo down would probably help there. But yeah, bring the logo down and you would be able to see that. The Dan Vaughn Jr., that is my Twitter page right there. YouTube, Dan Vaughn, and Dan Vaughn Jr. is the Instagram. Also, of course, the T-Bones channels. Love to have you on there as well. All this content is on my YouTube channel, and I'm working on a couple of items for getting rolling again, at least the audio stuff on SoundCloud. So we're going to be rolling some stuff there. I mentioned there's some things in the works, but all depends on which direction we go. Are we playing ball or not playing ball? And we know that either way, we're going to have some fun stuff. I just don't know how we're going to design it as of yet. So all good. Also, if you really are bored and you want to hit the kitchen, you can do that too. You can hit the kitchen. As you can check out the broadcaster can cook. He does cook. you can check that out on my YouTube channel, From the Booth to Your Table. And you can check out a couple of dishes there. 2 of them are up right now on YouTube, and I'll be filming more. I just haven't really I'm kind of eating those 2 dishes right now, but I'd love to have you guys check that stuff out as well. They're on my channels. And hey, subscribe, click that subscribe button, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, whatever you guys want to do. Glad to have you all along. All right, great afternoon here. I'm sorry a little bit late today, but glad you guys joined me. It's that time to shut things down, and let's all keep the faith, keep a good positive attitude, and I look forward to having you guys with us next Wednesday right around noon-ish, as we do noon-ish, and we'll get rolling for the Steakhouse again one more time. All right, so thanks for joining me here. Let's put the one I hate to do is the old, because we have the open sign up. We got to put the close sign up. And now we got to put the open sign down. Yep, close sign, and time to cue the close as well. Hey, guys, thanks a lot for joining me here and for joining me here. Love all you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and keep the faith. Hug somebody dear and near to you, and please show the love. Lots of love to everybody out there. All right, time to cue that close. Let's pull it up and play it for you guys, and we will see you guys next Wednesday right here on the Steakhouse.